Greetings viewers, EricTheCarGuy here, back with another, well, diagnostic slash repair video for you. Not really sure what to call this one. Anyway, for some time now I've noticed a bit of a clunk coming out of the rear end of my 2004 Honda Element. And last week when I was installing the tires over at my friend Scott Armstrong's garage, he had mentioned, he also has an Element by the way, he had said that the stabilizer bushings where they attach to the actual chassis in the back of the vehicle were loose, and that's what was causing his noise. Well, aside from that, I've had quite a few viewers come to me talking about a similar noise on their Elements, and I suppose CRVs also of this vintage, since they pretty much share the same undercarriage. If you've got one of these vehicles and you have a clunk coming from the rear end, this video might be of benefit to you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out for a drive and try to duplicate this noise so that perhaps that you can hear a little bit about what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to show you directly what we found when we wiggled the stabilizer bar around back there. And the best part about this is the parts from Honda are only about 12 bucks. So it's a super cheap fix, so long as it's not so rusty that everything comes apart. So we've got our fingers crossed on that part of it. Let's go out and take it for a test drive, see if we can't duplicate the symptom. Okay, I've set you up in the back of the Element here. I'm going to take it out for a drive because this is the general area from where I hear things coming from. Initially, I thought it might have something to do with the struts, but we're going to do a before and after and find out if my friend Scott was right or not. I'm hoping you were able to hear that, but now I'm going to get up underneath it and give you I'm going to show you what basically we heard, or what I suspect is the problem. All right, now these bushings are where I suspect the problem is coming from, and this is where my friend Scott told me that his was having an issue. But here's the thing, you can't jack the vehicle up to check these. It has to be down on the ground, because once you raise the vehicle up, this bar gets under tension and you won't even hear this. So all I did was grab this bar like this and wiggle it back and forth. I'm hoping you can hear that. I can also feel it in the bar when I do this. And for those of you asking about this melted stuff here, it's just a plastic wind deflector, and this pipe right here had come down at some point and made contact with this. So don't freak out about it. So let's replace these bushings and give a look and see if any of this comes back. Now, before I get started, you can see how rusty this is, and you can actually see how easy this is. I don't even have to jack this up to get to these, but I'm just going to soak these down with some penetrating oil before I get started. I'm going to do this on both sides, so doesn't make sense just to do the one. Just because I know somebody's going to ask about the end links, these are fine. These don't seem to have any problems at all, both on the upper and lower. I already checked these. In fact, I looked at it and I was actually suspecting the possibility that there was a problem with the bushings in the upper control arms here. Actually, it was the lower control arms that I have a picture for you here, and I'm not so sold on that now that I've moved this stabilizer bar around and I can really hear it. So I'm thinking, based on my observations and what I'm feeling here, that he was right, and that it really is these bushings here that are the problem. So we're going to replace them and see if that noise goes away. So I'm actually going to start by removing brackets on both sides and drop this whole thing down and replace both of these bushings at the same time. These are 12mm fasteners that hold these brackets up. And personally, when you got something old and rusty like this, I think an impact is the way to go. If you try to do this just with a twisting force, they often snap. So I think you're really better off doing it like this with an impact. If we're lucky, this side will come off just as easily. Well, we were successful in getting these to all come off of here. And now that they have, we're just going to replace these bushings. And these are the bushings that I got from Honda. I mean, come on, these are like I said, like 12 bucks. I'm going to put the partner number up here on the screen so that you can get some for your very own self. But these are all they are right here. And to get the old ones off, you just sort of pull the bracket loose. Take out the old bushing. There's a split in there. So there's a split that just goes around the bar. And before I install the new one, I'm going to do something that Scott recommended I do. He has some special grease that he used for this that he got from Honda, but I'm just going to take a little bit of silicone paste. Yes, Eric the Car Guy loves his silicone paste. And the reason is that this rubber is a petroleum base, and you can't use grease with a bushing like this that has a petroleum base, because if you do, the grease actually starts to eat away at the bushing itself. So you don't want to, using something silicone based is the way to go here. And this will allow it so that the bar can flex and twist within this bushing. And as far as which way to put the split, I don't think it really matters. But you can see how easy that is. You just slip it over the outside of the bar, take the bracket. The bracket is also universal. It doesn't really matter which way it goes up on there. Just going to push that down on there, and because it's a Honda part, it's going to just slip right up on there just ever so nicely. Now let's move over to the other side. Okay, now we're on the other side. Going to do the same thing. Just sort of pull the bracket off, grab the bushing. And you can sort of see like how shiny that is a little bit. And in my experience, whenever you see like shiny things, it usually means they're rubbing. Once again, I'm going to fill the inside of it with a little bit of silicone paste. Open up the split, put it across the bar, install the bracket, and because my bolts were so rusty, I'm going to take just a little bit of, well, in this case it's going to be transmission fluid, but engine oil works just fine. And I'm just going to put that on the threads of these fasteners before I run them up on there. I'm just going to pull this up, stick it into place, run the fasteners in finger tight, make sure all the threads catch, because if not, you can run the risk of cross-threading this, and it can take the good fortune that you had when it came off and just flush that down the tubes, because you won't be able to, you'll break the fastener or worse. Well, breaking the fastener is probably about the worst thing, I suppose. Now mind you, I didn't even jack this up to do this. And once again, part of that is because when you do, you're going to put tension on the actual stabilizer bar, which would actually make this, one, difficult to detect, but two, it will also make it difficult to remove and install this bar as a result. Okay, we've moved down over to the other side. I kind of needed two hands to install that. I was having some trouble. And wiggle around, make sure those threads catch. If not, you could be hating life. Now that everybody's in place, I'm going to run these down. I suppose it would help if I put a socket on my impact. So far, I'm quite hopeful. Why don't we take it for a drive and see if that noise is gone? Well, I'm sold. I didn't hear a darn thing while taking that thing out for a drive. So thank you, Scott, for turning me on to that. These little bushings, they get hard on the inside. Like I said, that shininess indicates that, you know, well, obviously the bushing itself is going to move around. Well, the stabilizer bar is going to move around in the inside of this bushing. But over time, this bushing gets a little bit hard, that kind of thing, and that stabilizer bar will flop around on the inside of that bore, inside of that hole, just because it wears out. And I've got to admit, I was thinking maybe lower control arm issues or bushings there, or maybe even upper strut mounts or something with the struts. But I've been asked about this in the past, like I said. So if you've got like about this vintage element or CRV and you have a noise from the rear, clunking, like 12 bucks from Honda, come on. I mean, it's, if nothing else, you could try this. And you don't even have to lift the vehicle up. In fact, I don't advise that you do. I think it would actually work better if you didn't lift it up. And just as an experiment, try this and see if your noise goes away. If it does, it's a total win. But I gotta say, I am way happy with the fact that the noise in the back there seems to be all gone. So once again, thank you, Scott. I am Eric the Car Guy. You can always find me at EricTheCarGuy.com, where if you have automotive questions, such as you've got a noise in the back of your Honda Element, you can type in a couple of keywords like noise element into the search function over at my website, and something like this will come up now that I've made this video. So feel free to give that a shot. Also, if you don't get an answer there, feel free to sign up for our forum. It's free. We're happy to have you, and also happy to answer your questions over at Service and Repair. You can also find me at Google+, Facebook, and Twitter, and I close with be safe, have fun, and stay dirty, and thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Catch you later.